Hey there, Together Learners. Eric here, your learning futurist. In this video, we're going to talk about creating a video from start to finish. This could be a video for you to make a video presentation for your classes. It could be for some project you're working on, but there are several steps that goes into creating a great video that tells a great story or gives a great presentation. So we're going to talk about all the steps in creating your video from start to finish in this short kind of masterclass of a course right in this video. Okay, so that was a little funny at the start there. That's okay. But in this, I mean, many of you have to be, we're learning online more these days. The pandemic has caused us to do things at a distance now. So instead of maybe being in class or being in front of your classmates giving a presentation, we're having to create a video presentation or having to do a video project. And so this video is going to help you create better videos by helping you gain a better understanding of the process that's involved from start to finish of making your videos. I'm going to be showing a video presentation kind of step by step in these slides, but you can also go on to the Together Learning website or Together Learning YouTube channel and see a ton of videos about digital color, camera angles and movements, graphic design, and all that stuff. So maybe go there and subscribe or take a few of those videos if you want to know deeper about the things that I'm going to talk about in this video. Right? Super short masterclass in creating video presentation. Well, the first thing you need to know is that anybody can make videos. It is super easy. It's super inexpensive. Most everybody has what they need to start creating videos. Don't worry about having the right equipment. Some people feel like they need to buy a great camera or some audio equipment or a better computer to start off with. You don't need any of that. Most of us have one of these in our pockets. That's all you need to get started. And that's really all you should be using to get started, to start the basic processes and understand the basic steps involved in creating great video. After you get a little bit into it, then you can start thinking about the equipment and what goes into it. And it takes a bit of practice. Like any good art, drawing, singing, playing a musical instrument, this takes a bit of practice and a bit of experience and a bit of failing to get better at. So don't be upset if your video doesn't turn out the way you want it to, especially during the beginning. It never really does at the beginning. It's all part of the process. Just try to have fun with it. There's plenty of free cameras. We have, again, our smartphones all have cameras. They're cheap cameras to buy. You don't need an expensive one. You don't even need to buy expensive software. In this video, I'm going to show you a couple of examples of coursework and software, video editing software on the cloud, and then the ones that you can download. So everything's available in this video. And most importantly, right down here next to me, just have something to share. This is the most important part of it. Making videos, creating content, sharing a story. Just have something you want to really share with your audience. That could be everybody in the world on your website or on YouTube, or that could be your classmates or your teacher. Just have the mindset of wanting to share something, wanting to share some information. It makes all the difference in the world. Okay? So anybody can do it. You don't need a lot to get started. Understand that it's going to take a little effort and a little trial and error, a little bit of failing to get started. Okay, so the basic steps. Well, first, you're going to make sure that you have your story. You're going to think about the design and the look. You're going to gather your assets, and then you're going to edit and format that video together in a way that makes sense. And then you're going to export that video in a way that other people can watch it and share it on the platform, or in a way that other people, your intended audience, can view it. All these steps are critically important, and they're done in different ways depending on what type of video you're making or what type of story you're telling. But if you follow this basic steps, your videos are probably going to be a lot better because you start to understand like the things that come before the other things. Like if you try to just go out and start shooting film, it might work, but your videos are going to be a lot better if you think about and script your story beforehand, maybe do some storyboarding, and then you go out and try and find the things that you need to find to put together your video, right? So I'm going to go through these 5 steps individually, step by step, a little more detail for you right now. But you can always find more information on our Together Learning website. There's courses on there called New Media Lab right here, where we're going to talk about all this stuff in detail. There's a web publishing course where we talk a lot about graphic design as well on this as well. So if you want to know more about the stuff I'm talking about in detail, that's where you're going to want to go. All right, first step, your script, right? Now, a lot of people think, especially when starting out and doing these, especially like a talking head video where you're giving a video presentation, you're maybe showing some slides like I'm showing, or you're just giving your presentation on a video format to give to your class, give to your teacher, show to your coworkers, etc., etc. And so some people think they need to write that script very concretely so they know the words exactly to say. And some people need that to kind of talk. But really, what writing your script forces you to do, it forces you to think more deeply about what you want to communicate to your audience, right? If I go through the process of trying to write word for word what I want to say, it causes me to go back and rethink the kind of which information should come first, or a different way to explain something, or an analogy that might make sense, or a story that might be connected to make the presentation more interesting. The idea behind writing a script, or even just an outline if you don't have the time or the video doesn't need a full script, really makes all the difference in the world to help you kind of go through the process of your mind and telling the story and help you kind of focus in on some of these things that are here on this slide. So one of these things is your audience, right? You think about your script, you think about your words, you're going to think about who is going to be listening to this video, who's going to be watching this video. You're going to tailor that information to that audience, right? People watching this video are probably not too familiar with creating video, especially for class presentations, etc., etc. So maybe I'm tailoring my words and explaining very clearly about the basic processes of creating video. If you've already taken a course on video editing, I might, rearrange and talk, excuse me, about it a little bit different, right? And it also very important during this stage is to kind of simplify your story, simplify what you want to say. Often when we want to make a video presentation, we have all of these complicated ideas in our mind. We want to get them all out. We want to say every interesting thing that's connected to our topic. But many ways, especially in video format, we want to condense it down. We want to get right to that main point as much as possible in that video. And then maybe share some side notes or maybe a supplementary video, because this type of media is on demand. We can watch it however and whenever we want. So you can divide your video up into segments and different videos if it has different kind of ideas and topics related to it. And it makes more sense if you're going to be giving this video in that fashion, depending on what your teacher asks for, of course, as well. So try to cut down and focus in what is the essence, what is the main idea you want to talk about, and make sure when you write your script or your outline that everything is focused and supporting that main idea. And then you can maybe think about some creative ways during this process to explain those concepts. Then right at the bottom here, you might throw it all away, meaning this is something that I do quite often. I might write a script and write an outline, maybe make some PowerPoint slides. And then when I'm ready to make that video, I'll throw it all away and then ad-lib it from there. I've already gone through the process in my mind, thinking about it a little bit deeper. And now I'm ready to talk naturally to the camera, and I know kind of pretty much what I want to say, but I'm not reading specific words that might sound unnatural and come across as though I'm just reading something to my audience, which can really turn off an audience for a video presentation. So it's okay to work really hard and long on a script to not use it to its full potential. Don't feel like because you spent time writing that word for word script that you have to read it word for word. All right, next step, design. Okay, so now you've thought about what you want to say, the story behind your video presentation. Now you're going to think about all those video things, those visual aspects that go along with and supplement your words or supplement the story you're trying to say. And this could be thinking about the colors involved, the fonts, the arrangement of different graphical assets that might appear on the screen, a color palette, what color font goes with what color background, or a whole bunch of different design elements. And it's super fun to make these kind of creative choices when making a video. But every creative choice you make here, hopefully, is in support of telling your story, the information you want to get across, right? And right down here on the bottom here, sometimes it's important, especially if there's a lot of visuals that's involved in telling your story or in your video, you're going to want to try and scribble out a storyboard, which basically is an outline in visual format. So if you're writing a script and you're writing an outline, point 1 to a point 3, 6, 5, whatever, an order of things that you want to say with a few words, in summarized words. Storyboard is basically the same thing, but in visual format. You scribble out stick figures even where you want people to be in relationship to each other. Maybe you want to show a picture of something in between something and something else. Maybe you want to show a PowerPoint slide here, or maybe you want to make a different cut here, or maybe you want to move the camera from one person to the other. So you can start to visualize how your information is going to be represented to the people watching your video. Super important, and especially if you're going to be going out and trying to film yourself or other people to create your video, again with maybe your smartphone or a camera. This is super helpful because it'll help you line up your frame, line up the relationship between the camera and the subject you want to show in your video, right? Storyboards. And if you want to know more about creating storyboards, there's specific videos and information about that on the website togetherlearning.com. All right. All right. Next step, gather your assets. Before you want to go out and start filming, you might be able to find a whole bunch of great stuff already on the internet. There's a whole great big internet out there full of millions of pictures and video clips and audio and music and things like that. And a lot of it you can use. And so you can go out and do a search. Maybe just going through this process will give you some information for filming your own things when you finally go out and either film yourself or others. Or maybe even just do a location filming and maybe record your voice on top of it, things like that. Assets can be a wide variety of things: video, audio, 3D models, even things like augmented virtual reality environments and things like that. So going out and searching the internet at first to try and find some of these things can be very helpful, even if you don't end up using them. But got to be careful when you use these things. You want to make sure it's royalty free, meaning that you're legally able to use it. There's something called Creative Commons, where you can use it, but there's stipulations. There's rules about how you use it. Maybe you have to give credit to the person who made it. Maybe you can't use it commercially or make money off of it. Maybe you can't edit it. You have to show it again as is. But Creative Commons is a way to understand very clearly what the original person of that media is allowing you to do with their media, right? Fair use copyrighted material, if you want to show like little clips of maybe your favorite movies or sound bits of your favorite movies to kind of talk about and comment on, or maybe for educational purposes, there's a lot of reasons that you can show those things. But you have to be careful again and make sure that it's in the realm of fair use. Again, royalty-free, Creative Commons, fair use. If you want to know more about those in general too, you know where to find it. I've already said it a couple of times now. All right, so if you can't find what you need on the net, go out and film what you need, record your audio, take your pictures, maybe make props or backgrounds. This is all fun and creative stuff. After you kind of filmed your things, maybe you have some things in your phone, maybe you have some things on the you downloaded from the internet, maybe you have some sound recordings that are recorded with somebody else's phone. You're going to need to try your best to gather all those assets into one place so you can do the next step much easier. If you've maybe can divide up the audio or different parts of the video that you want to create and organize it in a way that's going to make sense to you when you go and do the next step, which is to edit and format your video, right? Editing and formatting the video is arranging all those assets in a way that makes sense and a way that is pleasing and a way that tells the story in the most entertaining way possible, right? So in this part of it, you're going to take all your assets and arrange them in chronological order, maybe put some graphics on top of it to help you explain a specific topic, maybe do a lower third, which actually this closed caption that is writing down the words that are coming out of my mouth is kind of like a lower third. It's like there's, if you divide the screen into three parts, the lower third is the lower 1/3 of the screen, and usually use that, especially in the news, for a lot of graphics to say who's talking and what they're talking about. You also see that a lot in documentaries, right? B-roll is a very awesome thing to do. It's showing video of what you're talking about and not necessarily the person talking about it, right? So it could be interesting to watch you just give your presentation in front of a camera for the entire bit, but maybe you start talking about a specific thing, like maybe your presentation's about astronomy, watching the stars. So you might cut to what's called B-roll of just the panning across a starry sky, right? So you switch, you keep your audience involved by switching to what's called B-roll, which is just supporting background, almost type of video content, could even be a picture of something to switch to and switch back to. So when you're out, like for example, if you're a tourism student and you want to show a specific location, you might be talking at that location, but you can also show some B-roll of cut to some B-roll of somebody else enjoying that location or doing a specific activity in that location, and you're still talking on the top of that B-roll, or might show some music, etc., etc. Very powerful. You could also think about background music. Don't make it too powerful because you don't want to outpower your voice, which is one of the most important things about video editing. You're going to want to edit your voice so it's clearly understood, so it's nice and loud and it's not distorted, because we know as videographers, as people that make a lot of videos, that the voice is one of the most important things in that video. Even you could have like a nice high definition 4K, beautiful scenery, but if we can't hear your voice, people are not going to be engaged, and they're probably going to have a hard time continuing to watch your video. The voice is the most important bit of the video. Seriously, it is. So spend a lot of effort and try to focus on making sure that your video can be heard, your voice can be heard clearly, and it's the right volume. And if you put background music on your video, make sure it doesn't overpower your voice. Turn that down a little bit. Make sure it's really in the background. All right. So now you've written your script, you've gotten your assets, maybe you did some storyboarding. Now you've edited it out. Now all you have to do is share that out. It's beautiful. So now you're going to export it. If you're using different software, a couple of software things that I can recommend for that video editing portion. One's called WeVideo. It's online. If you're a member of togetherlearning.com, you'll have access to this. If not, maybe you'll have to buy it. If you want to download something for free that more pros use, I recommend DaVinci Resolve. You'll need a little bit high-spec PC to use this part, and the learning curve's a little bit higher. You can also download WeVideo as a smartphone application. There's also a ton of other video editing platforms out there. Some of the most popular ones are Adobe Premiere Pro, Sony Final Cut, and of course, if you're a Mac user, iOS user, iMovie is also very popular, right? You can find tutorials about those on our website as well, right? Now you need to export that. So you want to export that in a file, in a format, and put it in a place that makes sense for your audience. It could mean if you want to share it to the world, it might be on YouTube or another video sharing platform or on social media, perhaps. If you're wanting to share it for your classmates, for just a specific audience, you might need to upload that to like a Google Classroom or a Microsoft Teams situation. But you're going to need to save it in a format that you know other people are going to see. So one of the most common formats is MP4. If you're an iMovie person, you might gonna need to make sure that you choose MP4 because Apple likes to use very specific formats for their video, and then share it out. There's a ton of great stuff that our students at Together Learning are creating. I have a ton of videos, and I'd like to make videos about your videos to help you share your stories with the world. So if you put your hashtag Together Learning on the videos you create in our courses, we can have some fun sharing them together and enjoying them, right? All right. That has been a video about creating a video presentation. If you want to know some more information about it, you can go to togetherlearning.com. There's a ton of other videos on the YouTube channel and courses on the website to get a little bit more deeply into this. But I hope this has been helpful, helping you understand the basic process involved in creating your video presentation or video for your classes. All right, this is Eric signing off. See you in the next video, Together Learners. Bye-bye now.